everybody? Thanks for watching. Now, this is one of those videos where, you know, it's kind of sort of a touchy subject. Whenever you have to tell people the truth about themselves, you really don't know how they're going to take it. You know, are they going to truly understand it the way that you meant to say it? You know, can you convey it in the right way to get people to understand, you know, your message? But, you know, to me, you know, people will get offended by some of the things in this video. But to me, the people who will not be offended are the people who are real with themselves. But you have to look at, you know, history, our history, black women. I mean, we as black men has had an uphill battle. We all know this. We know, you know, so-called racism, white supremacy. We know what that's about, and we know what we face out here. But black women, the treachery, the traps, and, you know, the confusion and frustration that you have been put through is deep. And I don't think you realize how deep it is. And you don't realize what is obviously in front of your face. And the thing is, what we got to remember is one of the biggest keys to white supremacy, to oppression, was to, of course, separate the black family. You as a black female have to understand this, plain and simple. And when you understand that and everything that that entails, you have to then look at the black men that you are faced with today and ask yourself, what happened? What's going on? Is this really the type of man that I should be with? And this obviously is not pertaining to every single black man, but to the men that you gravitate towards the most. So you have to think about, one, if the goal of white supremacy is to separate the black family, and I've mentioned this before, how the key to generational wealth begins with the family. It begins with the mother and father, plain and simple. If you guys don't have a strong foundation, if you don't have a loving relationship to convey to your children, to teach them how they should be a mother or a father, how they should be, you know, out in the world, how they should be as far as education, you know, then they won't learn these things. They will pick them up from places where, you know, they shouldn't, where the message it might not be the message you want to give to your child. So when you destroy the home, you are destroying the foundation for generational wealth, and you are crippling a generation of people to become successful. And not every single black woman is going to be strong enough or have the resources or support to take a child as a single mother and elevate him to a level of success. And we see that is definitely the case in the black community today. It is really hard for black women to do this. But when you understand that one of the biggest things to white supremacy is to take the black male out the home, to destroy the black family. And then you look at the mass incarcerations that we have of black men, completely disproportionate to white men. When you look at the fact that once the person is arrested and they have that criminal record, and of course anybody on the outside looking in is going to say, well, he shouldn't have done whatever he did to get arrested. But if you're locking up the majority of people on a product that you put in their neighborhood, you know, it's almost like entrapment. You gave me something that people want that I could sell to make money. And I sold it not knowing, you know, what it does to people. Not fully understanding the consequences, you know, basically surviving off the rule of, you know, it's either me or them. Survival of the fittest. If I don't do this, I can't eat, I can't feed my family or what have you. And it's really, you know, no other alternative for certain people, you know, especially when they have lack of knowledge. So when you have people being arrested, black men being thrown in prison, taken away from their family, and the goal of racism, white supremacy is to separate the black family, what you have out on the street now, at any given time, you have different types of black men for black women to choose from. You have black men who are in and out of incarceration, in and out of prison. You know, they got to sell drugs. They got to do whatever they got to do because they really can't get a good job because of their criminal record. You have black men who are trying, you know, to do what's right. They don't want to be arrested. They don't want to do things that go against the law. They're trying to do the best they can to survive and take care of themselves and their family. So they work, they go to school, or what have you. And then you have black men who have made it, who are successful already, who are doing, big things. And these are what the black women have to choose from. Now, let's keep it real. It's not so many of these black men that are successful and doing big, great things that's not celebrities, professional athletes. So that's one thing. So now what's really left for the black woman to choose from is between the incarcerated man in and out of prison and the black man who doesn't have that much, who's trying, who don't want to break the law, who got a 9-to-5 at Burger King, who going to school. She has to choose from a man that has the potential to do something good with his life and a man that is doing whatever he can to survive and breaking the law and doing what have you. So the goal of white supremacy, racism, is to make sure that you choose the man that's wrong for you. How do you do that? Well, first, we got to understand, one, to not go deeply into it, the seeds have already been implanted, for hundreds of years since slavery. So when you bring it up to modern day, how do you make sure? Because they obviously don't want you getting with the rich black guy. They don't want you getting with the guy who has a shot. They want you to choose the worst choice. And the thing is, your options are limited, plain and simple. And when you look at the culture that we have, if you want black women to choose the man that's wrong for her, then you got to make sure the culture promotes this man to be something great. You got to make sure that she's attracted to the wrong man. You got to give her a culture that's going to appeal to her, that's going to make her choose the man that's going to be the downfall for her offspring, for herself. And this is what we have seen with the hip hop culture. And we have seen a culture arise in the black community that is predominantly negative. Than used to be, more so today it is. And when you really be real with yourself and take a step back and look at, we already know, I talked about this before, the whole bad boy attitude. Black women saying, I want thugs. I want, a dude who can basically take care of me, who got the money. I don't want to be with a dude who really is trying to, struggle and everything like that. And now you have the black woman having to choose from the person who she really should be with and the person who society, who the culture is telling her to be with. The popular guy, not the square, the popular guy. And the popular guy just happened to be the drug dealer of the neighborhood, the ghetto superstar. And this is what's going together when we have these relationships, when people come together based on the culture. So when you think about it, it almost sounds stupid. Why would you mess with an ex-con drug dealer versus a black man who got a job, he working, he's trying to educate himself, he's trying to do something good with his life? But this is exactly what has happened. This is what's going on. And we understand how the drug dealer is glorified. You don't see rappers rapping about, I flip burgers at Burger King and, I worked at Save a Lot and all this and that and making it banging, glorifying it. But you see the drug dealer glorified. You see the person who's working a 9-to-5 trying to go to school, he's called a square. He's corny. And the culture is appealing more to the wrong man for the black woman versus the man that's right for her. And not just that, you have on the flip side, black men receiving a culture that's derogatory towards women. So again, when you have two people meet in a culture that's like this, it's not going to end up well. But the black woman has been sabotaged. She has been tricked into choosing the man that's wrong for her. And a lot of you believe that this is your own feelings. No, he's just the man I'm more attracted to. And you don't really understand it's not your own feelings, that you have been tricked. You have been brainwashed into feeling this type of way. And I've heard it all the time. Black women say, I want a guy that's going to talk tough. A guy that's not that's going to put me in my place. Like, you want to argue. You want to, stuff like that. You don't want a guy that's going to be sensible and a guy that's going to be, understanding and have a conversation that's going to lead to compromise. It's like, You want argument. And, you know, this is where black women get this angry black woman mentality from, because this is how you are portrayed on television. And you have been tricked into this whole thing. And this is what you have to understand. You have to pay attention to what you have been given, what they're giving you, as far as who you should appeal to, who you should be with. And if the culture is pushing a negative man for you to be with, it's something you definitely shouldn't follow. But again, when you sit back and just really think about it, you know, it's so many people who I just know personally, and so many situations that I know about, where you have women waiting for some dude to get out of prison, you know what I'm saying? Or a woman who is, you know, has Section 8 or welfare, living in a house where she has a grown man living with her, and she's taking care of her kids and this grown man. And it's like, what's going on? And we don't understand how the trap has been set up for women to be with this wrong man, to have kids, to accept welfare because he doesn't have a job and she doesn't really have a job like that. And her situation is going to force her to try to, you know, do better in life. But because, you know, it's so many roadblocks ahead, she's going to be forced to continually take welfare. If you are taking welfare, if you're being comfortable in that HUD, PHA, or, excuse me, housing authority, whatever it's called in your city, if you're taking comfort in that government housing, you know, you got money for food, they helping you pay the rent, and it's comfortable. And you got a man taking advantage of that. What you are doing is you are not being successful. You are not in a position to create generational wealth that's going to challenge racism, white supremacy. So again, you have to understand why things are given to you. They're given to you so you can fail. But you have this music now that is driving women more towards the guy who she shouldn't be with, the bad boy. He's promoted, and he's promoted and, you know, lift up as being someone who black women should be with. And, you know, the square is a square, and he's not appealing, and he's not cool or what have you. And it is what it is. But then on top of the music is already promoting you to be with this wrong type of guy. It's at the same time telling you to basically question him, to cheat on him, and, you know, to do all kinds of things yourself that would be, you know, questionable within a relationship, that basically would drive a separation between y'all, distrust. So when you start listening to a lot of these songs and what they're talking about, it's like, why are a lot of these songs geared towards the black relationship or relationships? You know, and you start listening to, why are these songs talking so much about us killing each other, or calling black women bad names, or, you know, every black woman is a whore and this and that? Why are the hip hop songs so much geared towards this and not any kind of other uplifting music? So when you start listening to songs like old school stuff like Creep, you know, remember that song TLC, Creep, keep it on the down low. Destiny Child, as I talked about before, you know, telling women to date soldiers. If his status ain't hood, he got to be street if he looking at me. You know, it's crazy. You know, ladies, leave your man at home. Club is full of ballers. Remember, Escape had that song, My Little Secret. Keisha Cole's had I Should Have Cheated. You had Unfaithful, Rihanna. Remember that song? Jasmine Sullivan had that song, In Love with Another Man. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it's not just women who's singing about, you know, cheating, it's men as well. So you get a lot of times women always say that, you know, I don't listen to the words. And one of the things, as I talked about before, make no mistake, this music is more than just music. It is planting subliminal messages within your brain. It's bypassing the frontal lobe. And I talked about this scientifically, and I even had doctors explain this as well. It's science. It's just, it is what it is. Music breaks through all the defenses of the brain, plain and simple. So the message that's attached to the music, you will pick it up subconsciously, and you will act it out in the real world. It's basically what we are seeing. But to most people, that's too spooky. That's just not possible. But we see it all day. So you get a lot of black women that always say, well, I just dance to the beat. I don't really listen to the words. And the thing is, you got black men who listen to the words. You got black men that listen to the lyrics. And the lyrics is calling you bitches and hoes and sluts and thoughts and all kinds of derogatory names. It is saying that you are a gold digger. The music is saying not to trust you, that you a cheater. The music is calling you all kinds of names, and then you two come together with this understanding. And again, it's sabotage. It's destroying the black family, and the woman is basically supposed to be running that black household and keeping everything in order while the man goes out and basically provides for his family and creates an opportunity where the woman can do so as well. You know, if you have a man contributed to the household the way he's supposed to, then a woman can go out and contribute as well. Things are supposed to work. It's not supposed to be, you know, a hierarchy. And you know how, you know, those of us who do study Kemet, we always put the woman up higher than the man. So if the woman is sabotaged, if she's doing everything wrong, it's going to trickle down, plain and simple. You can find the most craziest, you know, sick person out there. Most of them love their mom. They love their mom, but it's the weirdest thing. If they grew up in that type of family, a lot of people love their mom. Mom is the one. It's always been that way. When you destroy mom, when you sabotage her, I mean, the family is basically doomed. So I just want you to think about what I've said so far, just so far, the little bit I've talked about, and really pay attention to the things that lead to the stuff we talk about, the stereotypes. Oh, all successful black men always sell out and get white women, or, you know, it's something wrong with interracial dating or what have you. You've been set up, women, black women, you've been set up. You've been tricked. And you got to think about that. When you say stuff like this, you got to pay attention. So one, again, is to destroy the black family. Plain and simple. Racism, white supremacy. Destroy the black family. Destroy the foundation of generational wealth. So again, if you have a culture that's telling you to go out there, leave the square alone, go after the drug dealer, go after the guy whose status is hood, the guy who's street. Go after that guy. That's the baller. That's the guy you want. The guy who sells drugs in and out of prison. This is the guy who's promoted. Meanwhile, you have the square who bust his ass, who worked hard, grinded through college, got a good position, or who had some kind of skills in sports. He had to do good in school to keep his, you know, collegiate scholarship. So he's labeled a square, but he ends up in the NBA. He goes to college or what have you, ends up in professional sports. And he's surrounded by women from a different race that's telling him they like him for him. They like him because he has potential. They see the potential in him. They see that he's trying to do something great. He's a hard worker and he's a nice guy. And then when these men have no choice but to accept the woman that's going to accept him for what he is, and he marries another woman of another race, then you have people throw their hands up like he's a sellout or he's sold out. And I know a lot of people ain't going like that. A lot of people have a problem with that, but you got to pay attention. It's sabotage. You've been set up. You've been tricked. They don't want you to have those men, which is clear. Because when you see these celebrities that got these white women, they parade them out in front of the cameras for you black women to see. So y'all can see, oh, well, these niggas ain't no good. They sold out. Well, what do you expect him to do when the black woman that he's trying to be with don't want him? It's just that simple. So you got to pay attention to the sabotage. And it's so big and deep right now. Because one, when you start messing with the heads of black men as far as sex sells. Sex is a huge driver. And I talked about this before, how everything that the black man does, or any straight man, or any straight woman, or anybody that's interested in the opposite sex or what have you, everything we do is basically to gain favor with that woman or with that man. It's like, you know, I want to dress up and look good for that dude, or I want to be balling to make sure I look good. I got this on for that woman. We do it for the opposite sex, plain and simple. So, one, when you're appealing to a man, you know, sexually, you can't scroll up and down Facebook or Instagram without seeing pictures of these strippers, of women twerking. And we know now we in a big ass era. If you got a big fat ass, especially black man, we gonna go crazy. It's nothing better than that. But when you seeing that, damn, all the women who I would want to be with that got this kind of body is either a stripper, but not just that. I don't care, you know, she got a body like this. I wouldn't want my wife or my girl to be twerking on Instagram or on Facebook. So, of course, a guy's still going to try to talk to her. But the relationship is not going to go nowhere because he don't respect you. Plain and simple. That's the sabotage. I mean, you got to really think about what's in the mind of these women who do this stuff. And everybody going to say, oh, it's just African dance bullshit. Let's stop that right now. We know what it is. Everybody's going to say something like that, or it's just dancing or what have you. We can't really be responsible for, you know, how men feel about us just dancing. You know what you're doing. Let's keep it real. You exciting men. Plain and simple. It is what it is. You're getting all those messages and all those comments from men who not liking you for who you are. They like you because of your ass. You saying to yourself, this is what I have to offer. Here it is. It's no, my name is such and such, and I'm doing African dance. It's throw on the beat and then start twerking. It's not, oh, this is from the Congo, traditional African dance, and you doing it in African fucking dress. Bullshit. You know what it is. It's hood. It's street. It's the culture, hip hop. So we know what it is. Let's not pretend. But you're doing it for comments. You're doing it for likes. You're doing it to see how many people you can get, you know, on your jock, so to speak. You know, how many inboxes you can get. We know what's going on. So when you do that and then you finally pick a guy to be with and then the relationship goes south because he don't respect you, what do you expect? You have been set up. You have been tricked.